Hi, I'm Amy Rigdon with the law firm of Holland & Knight, and I'm here with Michelle Jernigan of Upchurch, Watson, White, and Max Mediation Group in their firm's Maitland office. Today we are going to discuss anchoring and negotiations as part of the Mentoring with the Masters video series program. Mentoring with the Masters is presented by the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division in partnership with various members of the state legal community. Hello, Michelle.
Hey, Amy. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you for being here. So can you tell me, what is an anchor?
An anchor is really just an initial reference point. And in negotiation, it is an initial demand typically made by the plaintiff or an initial offer made by the defendant.
And why is an anchor important?
Anchors are important because psychologists have done research and determined that even an initial reference point that is arbitrary can still affect estimates. So if we look at it in the negotiation context, even an initial demand or an initial offer that might have a little bit of arbitrariness to it can affect subsequent offers and might even affect case evaluation.
Where should a plaintiff set the anchor?
A plaintiff should set an anchor or an initial demand at what I call the highest credible demand. And that would be the highest number that a plaintiff can justify based upon the facts, the legal issues, the damages related to the case, the highest number that a plaintiff could assert that would actually have some credibility and not alienate the defendant.
In a negotiation, if you receive an unreasonably high demand, what are the best ways to respond?
There's really a few different ways to respond to that. One way that you might respond is you might ignore the unrealistic demand and you might make an offer based on where you want to end up. So in other words, you could set forth an offer that would establish you moving substantially towards your goal regardless of what the initial demand is. Another thing that you could do is you could basically lay out for the plaintiff what you think their highest credible demand should be. And you could tell them what your offer would be if they would set that X as their highest credible demand and your offer would be Y. And that would really be more in the nature of establishing a bracket, and that's something we're going to talk about in another series, bracketing in negotiation.
As a mediator, what is your role in anchoring?
The mediator's role comes into the anchoring process in the private session. You know, as a mediator, we typically start out in a joint session and then have a series of private sessions with the parties. One of the roles of the mediator is to serve as a negotiation coach. So for instance, we might spend some time with one of the parties in their private session talking about what might be a good initial demand and why they may want to go with one demand versus another demand. And we might even explore with them what their highest credible demand would be. What is a demand that they could assert that wouldn't be offensive and wouldn't stall the negotiations on the defense side, but would be high and give them plenty of room to move down on the plaintiff side.
So we've talked about the plaintiff setting the anchor. Can a defendant ever set the anchor?
Absolutely, because really, again, the anchor is just a starting point or a first number. So contrary to traditional theories about negotiation, which are that whoever moves first loses, we have found through the years that because of the cognitive bias called anchoring, there's a tremendous psychological value in making that first move. So the defendant could be the one who actually sets forth the first offer, and then that would cause the parties to adjust their negotiations around that offer.
This is all very good information. Is there anything that the plaintiff should be cautious about when setting an anchor?
Probably the most important thing is to choose a demand that's high enough to give the plaintiff plenty of room to move down, but not so high that it will alienate or cause a stall in the negotiations.
Thank you, Michelle. This has been very informative.
Well, thanks again for the opportunity to talk to you about this topic.
For more information on preparing negotiations and negotiating, please view our other segments. Thank you.